Don't believe anything, but challenge and explore everything, liberating the African mind, from victimhood to vision, from blame to building. By Ekene Banye.
Introduction: Why you should doubt everything you've been told about Africa. There is a strange comfort in believing what everyone else believes. It feels safe. It feels moral. It feels intelligent until you look closely and realize that most people are just repeating what they've been told by someone who never questioned it either. For decades, much of what Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora, have been taught about themselves has been a mixture of half-truths, guilt narratives, and ideological propaganda. These stories come from schools, media, foreign experts, and sometimes from our own leaders and intellectuals. They are repeated so often that they become unquestionable. But if we pause for a moment and apply a little curiosity, we'll discover that many of these truths don't hold up under scrutiny. We've been repeatedly told by many social media influencers and foreign and Pan-African intellectuals that Africa was once a single, united civilization destroyed by outsiders, when in reality, Africa has always been gloriously diverse, with thousands of languages, customs, and political systems. We've been told that Europeans discovered Africa, as if we were invisible until someone else noticed us. We've been told that Africa is poor because it was colonized, while ignoring the fact that several countries in Asia were also colonized but rose to wealth through knowledge, discipline, and work. We've been told that wealth is evil, that equality means sameness, and that being a victim earns moral superiority. These are powerful but dangerous myths, and they have become mental prisons that keep Africans from thinking freely, working together, and building lasting progress. Mental slavery is worse than physical slavery. One of the most tragic legacies of the last century is that Africans fought to free themselves from colonial rule, but many never freed their minds. We replaced the physical chains of colonialism with new chains of ideology, resentment, and dependency. We have learned to recite slogans about decolonizing the mind without realizing that many of the loudest voices promoting this idea are simply recolonizing our minds with Western guilt politics, academic victimhood, and recycled socialist utopias that have failed everywhere else. The real enemy of Africa today is not Europe, China, or America. It is mental laziness, the refusal to think, question, explore, and face uncomfortable facts. The goal of this book. This book is not a history textbook nor a political manifesto. It's an invitation to think for yourself. You won't find excuses here, and you won't find slogans. You will find questions, stories, comparisons, and uncomfortable truths. Some of them will challenge everything you thought you knew about Africa and the world. Some might even annoy you. That's fine. That's how learning begins. The title, Don't Believe Anything, but Challenge and Explore Everything, is not a call to cynicism, it's a call to curiosity. It means don't accept or reject ideas just because of who said them. Challenge them. Test them. Explore where they lead. You'll find throughout this book that I often take a clear position on issues, and I'll back it up with sources, data, and examples from thinkers far more learned than I am. I do this not to claim expertise, but to show that truth doesn't belong to anyone, it belongs to those who search for it honestly. Why Africa needs a thinking generation. Africa doesn't need more emotional speeches. We've had enough of those. We need a generation of thinkers, young Africans who can ask hard questions without fear, who can challenge their teachers, their leaders, and even their traditions when logic demands it. We need young Africans who understand that progress is not inherited, it is built. Freedom without responsibility leads to chaos. Equality of opportunity is fair, equality of outcome is a fantasy. Knowledge and skill, not natural resources, are the true wealth of nations. These are not Western or African ideas, they are human truths. And Africa, more than any other continent, needs to rediscover the courage to face truth head-on. I'm not an expert, and that's the point. Let me be honest, I am not a historian, economist, or political scientist. I am simply a man who has lived, observed, studied, and thought deeply about the stories we tell ourselves. In that sense, I am like you, an African seeking understanding. And perhaps that's an advantage. Because experts often specialize so narrowly that they forget to see the whole picture. My approach, like Charles Murray's in taking religion seriously, is to explore these big questions with curiosity, humility, and evidence. I have opinions, yes, strong ones. But I invite you to prove me wrong. If you do, we both win, because the goal here isn't to be right, it's to get closer to the truth. What you'll find in these pages. The chapters that follow are organized to take you on a journey from Africa's ancient contributions to human civilization, through the global history of slavery and empire, to modern economic systems, political myths, and the mindset challenges holding Africa back. Along the way, you'll encounter questions such as: was Africa ever truly one? Why do some nations prosper while others stagnate? Is democracy compatible with African traditions? Why are foreign aid and social justice not always what they seem? And most importantly, what must Africa do to rise sustainably, independently, and proudly? You will also meet the works of great thinkers Thomas Sowell, Dambisa Moyo, George Ayittey, Peter Bauer, and others whose writings cut through emotionalism to reveal the principles that drive real progress. A sense of humor helps. Now, before you take this book too seriously, remember, serious topics don't require a grim face. I'll use humor, irony, and the occasional absurd example to keep things alive. Africa is full of tragedy, yes, but also of laughter, resilience, and joy. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we'll never change ourselves. So expect a few playful jabs, some dry humor, and moments where you'll shake your head and say, that can't be true. It usually is. Your role as the reader. This book will only work if you engage with it actively. Don't just read, argue with it. Mark the lines you disagree with. Research the sources I cite. Discuss them with your friends. Please share them in your community. Think. Debate. Disagree, but keep your mind open. The goal is not to make you agree with me, it is to help you liberate your own mind, because only free minds can build a free Africa. Final thought, the greatest revolution is internal. Africa's real revolution will not be televised, and it will not begin in parliament buildings or at the United Nations. It will start in the minds of curious young Africans who decide to think for themselves. When that happens, when millions of them will begin to challenge lazy ideas, test assumptions, and build on facts, the world will see an Africa that is no longer begging for fairness but creating excellence. As Thomas Sowell wisely said, when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. This book is my attempt to tell the truth, not the comfortable one, but the liberating one. Welcome to the journey. Now, let's start thinking. Part 1.